Yeah, so hi, I'm Jayden Warr. I've got a small family farm up here in the Chapman Valley area, up in the northern ag region of WA. Crop around 2,000 or 2,200 hectares each year. 60% of that's normally to wheat, and then the remaining 40 is sort of split up between canola and lupins. Yeah, so when you start talking about green on green and having cameras and processes and stuff all over your boom, you automatically think, geez, this is pretty full on, But it's actually relatively simple once it's set, and it doesn't take much to set it up. If you can set up an iPhone or an auto steer screen, you have no worries of this. It's just get it cracking and off you go, really. Sit there and watch them fire. So the actual weed detect setup compromises of 12 cameras across the boom, so one camera works on a 3 metre area in width, and then there's a processor next to each camera, then that all gets cabled back to a main screen in the cab that sort of looks after all the display options and all your settings and stuff like that. So as technical as it is, it's actually quite a simple hardware setup. When we got into the system, we sort of thought if it worked well for green on brown, then we'd be able to pay our system back that way. And knowing that green on green was evolving and still is evolving all the time with its algorithms and stuff, we didn't really have any idea what the savings would be. We were hoping there was going to be obviously significant ones, but being on sections, it was a bit of an uncertain sort of area, which is proved out to be quite good. So we received the system. We actually had this one retrofitted by a local dealer, this system. Received it just after seeding in 2022. So we were able to do a bit of green on green last season with it. Did a little bit of green on brown throughout the summer, and this is our first full year of green on green with it. We've got the optional LED light bars on the system, so one below each camera, and that at this stage is just for green on brown night spraying. So you can spray up here when the conditions are too hot for during the day, which is quite often over summer. So the camera system itself, aimed down in front of the boom, they pick up a target sort of grid, I guess you could say, and that's 3 metres in front of each nozzle, and then goes for a depth of 1,200 mil in front of that. So that's the area it's sort of scanning, and each one's 3 metres wide in the view, I guess. That's what it's scanning, and then it works out what to switch on from there. So the system will work anywhere up until 24 k's an hour. We generally only spray around that 22, and some of this undulating country around here, we might even peg that back a little bit. That's not necessarily to do with how quick the cameras can process the images. It's just, it's actually just a better ride really, and all works out a bit nicer for us. So we've got the Raven XRT height controller system on here. That's absolutely critical. I would say it's critical without the cameras, but even more so with the cameras. And we set our boom height at 700 mil, this one's calibrated for. So obviously, if you can imagine, if you don't have boom control and your wings are sort of waving around, or you're trying to manually manipulate them, it's very hard to keep them evenly hugging the ground, and that grid zone I was referring to sort of changes pretty dramatically, pretty quickly. So the in-cab display for weed detect it's quite a big in-your-face sort of screen, and that's just the nature of the beast. It's got to have a lot of processing power to actually take all that information in real time and be able to trigger it when it needs to. But once it's set up and you're on spraying for the day, you very rarely touch it. I think in our situation, with the amount that we cover, it could take a period of sort of 4 to 5 years to pay off the initial investment. That's obviously going to vary grower to grower and how much they're doing. But in terms of, you look at the financial cost of it as well, but there's also the convenience factor. For example, one day last week I loaded up and sprayed 60 hectares over the whole day of actually applied chemical. But I filled up once, didn't have someone driving a nurse truck to me. Oh, we certainly don't regret going down this path, that's for sure. It's evolving all the time. It's quite exciting to be a part of with the guys that are involved with it. And I think if any grower is interested in it, you can contact Goldacres. I'm happy to speak to anyone who's got any questions if I can answer them. But yeah, I reckon jump on board, mate. It's got to be the way to go. If you can reduce your chemical applications, I think it's probably going to be a good thing in the long run, or it's definitely going to be a good thing in the long run. So Goldacres themselves, obviously an Australian manufacturer, they're very, very easy to get along with, family-owned company. So you can always manage to get someone on the other end of the phone, which is, can be rare in different areas. And Bilberry, they're fantastic. Can't say enough good things about them. They're driven. They're obviously a small company at the moment, but the experience of them so far has been fantastic.